Okay. Can you what? Check? Oh, no, that's not for the right thing. That's for, I just never erased it. Okay. Okay, your job right now is to write down in your ISN. Okay? You only have one thing to write down, so I'm only going to give you a couple more minutes. Hmm? Yeah, 918. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Getting started. Our TEAC for today is determine the coordinates of a point that is a given fractional distance less than 1 from one end of the line segment to the other, and one and two dimensional systems, including midpoint. Specifically, today, we are talking about midpoint. Specifically midpoint today. And what I want you to be able to do is apply the fractional distance formula to identify the coordinates of a point, a fraction of a distance from the one end of the endpoints of a line segment. Specifically, 1/2 of the distance. Okay, so this is your warm-up. I may have gone over this one yesterday in class, but I went over it really, really quickly. So what I want you to do is I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes. I want you to write this down in your ISN. You don't need to write this part. This part's just to help you do it. Write this down. Try to solve it. I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to do that. If you have questions, I can come help you. First thing you need to do is you need to label your x1, y1s, x2, y2s. In order to do that, you need to figure out which direction we're going. We're going from A to B. So from A to B, we're going in that direction. So your A has to be your x1, y1s. Your B's have to be your x2, y2s. Okay, that's our first step. Now we just start plugging it into the equation. We have x1, which is 3, k, which is 3/8, x2, which is 19, x1, which is 3. 19 minus 3 is 16 times 3/8 times 3, or plus 3. Okay, there's two ways to solve this bad bear right here. We could say 3/8 times 16/1. 3 times 16 is 48, divided by 8 times 1 is 8. You end up getting 6. Okay? An easier way, it's kind of weird because it's more complicated, but it's easier. I know that makes no sense, but just hear me out. You could have said 3/8 times 16/1. And what you do is you simplify here. So you kind of like cross divide, if that makes sense. 16 divided by 8 is 2. Would there be anything left over with 8 down here? No. So you'd have 2 times 3 is 6. Okay? If you don't understand what I did there, you're going to have to use this method until you do. Okay? It's something that if you practice it enough to start seeing it, what I'm talking about. Okay. So we have 6 and 3. 3 plus 6 is, there's our x component. Unfortunately, we need our y component too. Plugged it in. We got y1, which is -1. Oops. It's -5, thank you. I was testing you. You passed. I never make mistakes. K is 3/8. Oh, you should see me in first period. I made like mistakes. No, it was third period when I made a million mistakes. On the same problem, too. It was really awkward. -1 and -5. Okay. The tricky part here is realizing -1 minus -5 is really -1 plus 5. If you do a minus a negative number, it becomes a plus. So -1 plus 5 is going to be 4 times 3 over 8 and -5. Okay, I expect everyone to at least be able to get to this point here. There's no algebra there, right? I can understand messing this part up because you guys are pretty weak with your arithmetic. That's because of the calculators. But there's no excuse not to get up to here, right? So if you don't get at least up to here, I'm not going to give you any credit. This is the bare minimum you need. Okay? I understand. This can be a little tricky, especially because you guys aren't as used to it as I am. We have 3 divided by 8 times 4 over 1. 3 times 4 is 12 over 8. That simplifies down to 6 over 4, which simplifies down to 3 over 2. Okay? Another way you could have done this, cross divide right here. You can also cross divide here. 4 divided by 8 is 2, but is a 2 going to go on the top or on the bottom? The top? Bottom. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So the 2 would go on the bottom there, because that's what's left over. So it would be 3 over 2, right? Which is the same answer we get up here. So we have 3 over 2 plus -5. In order to add these together, we have to get a common denominator. Our common denominator is going to be 2. So we need to make -5 have a common denominator of 2. So over here, I'm going to write 2 on the bottom. Okay, -5 is really -5 over 1. To get the 2 on the bottom, I multiplied it by 2, right? What do you think I have to do to the top then? Multiply that guy by 2. 2 times -5 is -10 plus 3 over 2 is equal to -10 plus 3 is -7, good job, divided by, the denominator stays the same, stays at 2, so we have -2 over 7. Sorry, -7 over 2, which is equal to 3.5. If you want to. No one ever believes me, but fractions are so much easier to use than decimals. Okay, and that's the correct actual answer. How I want you to report this is C, because that's the point we're looking for, is parentheses 9, comments -7 over 2. Okay, or -3.5. All right, are we ready to move on to the next problem? Okay. This homework's due tomorrow. Okay? If you need to use it, because you're not very good at your arithmetic, try to do it on your own. Check it on the calculator. Okay? But always try first. Don't just go to the calculator first. Don't be lazy. The reason why you guys struggle with this is because you've been using those calculators too much. Does that make sense? So you haven't been practicing your arithmetic, and now it's coming up to haunt you. Does that make sense? You should be able to do this as fast as me. You've been doing this since at least 8th grade. Yeah? Yes. Because instead of going, because you're going from A to B, and you're going 3/8 of the distance, which is about here. If you do it that way, you're going like this. So you're getting this point instead of that point. So yes, it would make a big difference. And your ISN, don't worry about that. In your ISN, I want you to write this down And I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm just tell you solve it. And I pretty much guarantee I think all of you can solve this problem. Look at the word midpoint. What do you guys think that means? Middle point. Find the middle point. I'm not going to teach you anything. You're going to figure this out on your own. You have to draw it too. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes. Okay. What answer do you guys get? 0. Right? It's pretty easy. Yes and no. If it looked like this, and it was a graph, yes, it would be 0, 0. But since it doesn't have that y component, it's just 0. Okay. So, I bet the majority of what you guys did was something like this. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? The distance is 6, divided by 2, which is 3, and then count from F, 1, 2, 3. Hey, look, it's at 0. Okay. Okay, so then another way you could have done it is you could have said, okay, find the middle. That's 1, that's 2. Okay, there's the middle. By counting from both sides until you hit the middle. Okay? So, what you did when you said, when we counted this distance here, right? Remember, what that is just x2 minus x1, right? x2, which was 3, minus x1, which is negative 3, would have been negative 6. Sorry, 1 second. Would have been positive 6. My mistake, sorry. I was testing you guys. Okay. Then you would have multiplied it by 1/2, right? And then you would have added it to one side. Well, look at that. That's the fractional distance formula. You just didn't know you were using it, right? Okay? There's actually a much easier way to solve it than using the fractional distance formula. Okay? And that is what's on it. It's called the midpoint formula. This is the midpoint formula. You need to write this in your ISN, and you need to star it or whatever so you know what it is. Here's my challenge question. I'll give you guys about 2 minutes to think about this challenge question and write this thing down. Let's see how many people are super, super smart. I bet at least one person will get it. The challenge question. No, I haven't said the challenge question yet. Okay. The challenge question is, you have seen this formula before in every one of your classes. Every one of your classes, you've seen this formula before. Does anyone recognize what this really is? Think about it until the time's up. Then I'll see if we can get it on the first time. I think one person's got it, but after a hint and like 2 guesses. But I promise you've seen it before. You see it in every one of your classes. Every single one. What? I don't understand what you're saying. And yeah, I see it in algebra. Oh yeah, I'm sure about that. Every single class. Not only have you seen it, you use it in every one of the classes. Yeah. We can't handle scissors in 7th period, I guess. Okay. Does anyone have any guesses on what the answer is? You guys are going to feel silly. Give me a hint. Starts with an A. Nope. Sometimes it starts with an M, depending on how you've been taught. All right. No. It is the midpoint. It is the midpoint formula. Okay. Here's the deal. If you had, give me 2 grades. 90 and a There you go. This is an average. Look at this. Right? So, your average is you add up your 2 grades and you divide it by the number of grades, right? Add up your 2 points divided by the number of points. This is straight up the average of 2 points. I told you you've used it in every single period, every single class. You don't have a grade in your classes? Yeah, but you see it. Mm-hmm. I am lucky. Okay. Let's use the midpoint formula right now to solve this problem. Our answer should be 0, right? So we have x1 plus x2 divided by 2. Do we care about our y's right now? No. There is no y component to this problem. So x1 was -3 plus x2, which is 3. -3 plus 3 is, or divided by 2. -3 plus 3 is divided by 2, which is 0. Wow, we got the same answer, right? So, and the proper way to write this answer would be the midpoint is at 0. Looks like moo. Okay. Are you ready to move on to the next one? All right. Try to solve this one on your own. I'm going to give you guys 3 or 4 minutes to try to solve this one on your own. You have to use distance formula for both the x and the y. Martin? Is Martin here? Martin Navy? Am I not saying it right? No, there's no T in there. I'm ridiculous. I'm sorry. But you have to go see the counselor. Okay. Did I just step on gum? Oh, thank God. Okay. Are you guys working on this problem? Yes. I meant this problem, I'm sorry. Don't worry about this example. Don't worry about this example 5. Okay, first step would be to label your x1, y1s, x2, y2s. x1, y1, x2, y2. x1 is 3 plus x2 is 7 divided by 2. 3 plus 7 is 10 divided by 2, which is 5. -6 plus 2 divided by 2. -6 plus 2 is -4 divided by 2, which is -2. Okay, we're trying to find the midpoint. We did find the midpoint, so we're going to label it M. M is at 5, -2. Okay? It's a point. It's a point. So you don't put it equal there. It's just like one of these. I was actually thinking if it would be right or wrong, we could put an equal sign. And I actually do not, I don't know. It probably does. Okay. One more problem I want you guys to do. I want you guys to write this one down. I'm going to take attendance. Write this one down and think about why this is different than the one we just did. You have until I'm done taking attendance to do this. Write down just the question. That's it. And then just think about it. It is very different than the one you just solved. Yeah, you always have to write the question. It is different, yeah. Jackie? You're here, right? That's Jackie, right? Oh. Joanna? Jose? Is Jose here? Suni? Ma'an? Adriana? Robert? Joshua? Brianna? Joanna? Or Jonathan? Valeria? Daniel? Blake? Was Blake here? There's a y-axis, yeah. Okay, so here's the difference between the two. You have to first, I'm going to graph it to show you what the actual difference is. So you have A, you have B, you have A, which is at 0, 1. We have B, which we don't know where that's at. We know our midpoint is at 3/5, or 3 and 5, sorry. We know that's where our M is. So most people who take this on test will not read the problem. They'll say, easy peasy, I'm just going to find the midpoint. You find the midpoint between these 2 points, you get a point here. Is that B? We already have the midpoint. We're trying to find the other point. So there's 2 ways to do it. The first way is to say, okay, let's think about this for a minute. If we know M is half the distance to B, right? So, well, what's the distance from A to M in terms of the x components? So look at the 2 x components. There's a 0 and a 3. What's the distance between those 2? 3. It's a midpoint. So what do you think we'd have to, if this is 3, what do you think this has to be? 6. This has to be 6 altogether, right? Add it to your x component, which was 0. 0 plus 6 is 6. So that's one of the ways. Oh, let's do the other one. What's the distance from 1 to 5? 4. Double it, which makes it. Add it to this side, which makes it 9. So the answer is actually 6, 9. Okay? So B is at 6, 9. That's kind of like the cheater way to do it, right? The actual way you're supposed to do it is like this. We know our formula is x1 plus x2. We know x1 is 0 plus x2. Do we know what x2 is? No, so we're going to use a variable. Let's use, I don't know, B. Divided by 2 is equal to the midpoint, which is at 3. X component, x component, x component. Solve for B. Let me rewrite this. This is really sloppy. Multiply both sides by 2. Cancels out. 3 times 2 is 6. So we have 0 plus B is equal to 6. 0 plus B is just B. So B has to be equal to 6. Is that the same answer we got up here? Yep. Oh, said that too loud. I was excited. Yeah, that's the same answer, right? We have to still solve for our y. What do you guys think that y answer is going to be? B is equal to 6. Okay. This is the same formula. Yeah. He's 100% right. You plug it in differently. We don't know what x2 was, so we use the variable instead. And we solve for that variable. It's the only difference. We need to solve for the y1 now. We know y1 is 1 plus an unknown y. What variable do you want to use for y? We can't use b. We already use b. Depends on what operating system we're using then. This should be equal to what? 5. Multiply both sides by 2 and 2. We get, this cancels out. We get 1 plus y is equal to 10. Minus 1, we get y is equal to 9. Right? So that's correct. All right, we're done for today.